Hey, thanks for tuning into the Zelos Podcast, the show that's all about the pros behind the pros in sports. I'm your host, Rocky Snyder. This week, Melody Schoenfeld's in the house with me, strength coach extraordinaire. She rips phone books, bends rebar, and she stands up just about eye to eye with me. Before we get underway, check out my website, rockysnyder.com, if you're interested in getting continuing education credit for whatever you're doing, whether it's physical therapy, athletic training, if you're a chiropractor, a strength coach, or personal trainer. We've got continuing education courses online as well as in person. Plus, you can get the podcast archives there and blogs and a whole bunch more. Also, check out this end of this month, September 27th. If you're on the East Coast, especially up in the Northeast, I'll be doing a one-day workshop called Recalibrating Movement from the Ground Up. If you work with clients, patients, or athletes that are in pain and you're trying to sort through what the heck is going on with them, this is the course for you. We're going to learn all about joint mechanics, closed chain biomechanics, joint relationships, and how forces produced through the body, how people are actually doing it, and what's happening there and causing pain, as well as improving performance. That's what you can get out of it. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Rocky_Snyder. Click the subscribe button and enjoy the conversation. Melody, welcome back to the Zelos Podcast. Had you on before, second time back.
Been a minute.
We'll call you a repeat offender.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't be.
Yeah. I love bumping into you at conferences. You know, we were at Kansas City this past July at the NSCA National Conference. And I don't know if it's just because you give me a big bear hug and lift me off my feet every time, or it's just your energy, or it's a combination of everything. But it's really great to call you a colleague and a friend, and always good to connect with you. Um,
Likewise.
yeah, we've shared many different events over the years. I think we've presented on numerous conferences or clinics, and it's always good to get us little folks involved with the big brutes, wouldn't you say? Like
I
we're
mean,
yeah,
we take up the fewest resources, so I don't know why they wouldn't have us anyways. Like we're cheap
honestly.
around.
Okay, so what I love is your how is it, strong man feats of skill. So if you're not familiar with Melody Schoenfeld, she is the brute, the ant strong woman who can bend rebar practically with her teeth. She rips phone books, you do a whole bunch of things. But recently I just totally geeked out on your travels. You went to Mongolia
We
and
did.
you were competing. What tell us the sport and maybe a brief history about it and what it was like.
It's called moss wrestling. It's basically a seated deadlift that fights back, if you want to think of it that way.
Ooh,
It's like, so there's like a wooden board and you get on one side and then your opponent gets on the other side and you sit down and you put your feet up on the board. And then you have like a stick that's about this big around ish, more or less.
like an inch and a half diameter, somewhere around there.
I think so. I think it's about an inch and a half. I never measured it, but I'm sure there's a standard measurement. And so one opponent gets to like you get to choose your grip. So they will either choose the inside grip or the outside grip. And then you choose the other grip. Um, and then basically the objective is to pull the stick out of their hands or pull them over the board or pull them off balance so that they have one leg off the board. So those are the three main ways that you might win. Mhm.
Wow. Okay. And is it based on height, weight? How do they do
It's
divisions?
weight categories, and unfortunately I'm almost always the lightest and the oldest. So like the people who I competed against were, I believe, 18 years old, 19 years old, and like 22 or 24, something like that.
But
Yeah.
you did better than you thought you were going to do, right? You
I
you
didn't
made
think
it
I was
through your round.
I didn't think I was going to win anything, and I won a whole round. And the only reason I really won was because there was one girl who was very close to my weight. That never happens. Like that never happens. The other
Wait,
people,
okay, you say it never happens, like these competitions are happening all the time and I just don't know about them. Like this isn't this like the national pastime of
that
Mongolia?
Well, it's, I don't know, it's the national path. The national path in Mongolia is more like riding horses, but this is like a sport that's popular in Mongolia. It's popular in like all the like stand countries, you know, Uzbekistan and um Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, and yeah, it's very, very popular there. And then it's very, very popular in Russia, where it was invented. It comes from Siberia. Um, so yeah,
Wow.
it comes
Okay.
from the like
So
Kut area of Russia.
with this competition, was this this was sounds like it was a big competition near
This
the
is the
capital
world
city of
championship.
total championship.
Yeah, world championship. It was about an 7 or 8 hour bus ride away from Ulaanbaatar, so it wasn't in Ulaanbaatar. It was a different city.
Wow.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, did you do this all yourself? Like, I'm just curious, did you have sponsors? Did you
Oh
just wake up
no,
one
I didn't
day and
have.
go, you know what? I'm going to go to Mongolia and compete.
Well, I got invited.
You were invited.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this. So
Mhm.
are you like national Moss wrestling champion in the
Oh
US right
God,
now?
no, I suck. I'm terrible at Moss wrestling. I'm not good. They needed someone in my weight category for
Oh,
this competition. So, I mean, I was in my weight category. It worked out.
right. God,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Okay, so then the first person you went against, what was that like?
Oh, she kicked my ass. I mean, listen, I'm going against people who've been doing this sport since they were fetuses. Like I had 2 months to train for this, and I was literally training once a week with someone. Like the rest of the time, it was all on my own because I don't have anybody to train with. So I
Wow.
don't have enough experience in the sport to be particularly good at it. I've played around with it, but I really need a lot more time on the board to get where I want to be with it. That said, I am training. I'm training hard with it because I like it. It's fun. It's a new challenge. I tend to like shiny new things. And this is a new challenge for me. And it was something that I've dabbled in it in the past. I've done it, a couple competitions here and there in the last few years, but I never really pursued it because I was really busy with strongman. I was really busy with the grip sports, and trying to do the Moss wrestling when you're also constantly training the grip sports. It's just too much for my hands, so I just I picked one over the other, and now I'm not doing so much of the grip sports anymore because it was just I'm not competing a lot anymore. I'm usually the lightest person by a lot, and I'm usually in categories where I'm training. I'm with people who are like 40 pounds heavier than me, 20 pounds heavier than me, and I have to lift the same things that they do.
Yeah.
And there comes a point at which it's kind of like, is it really worth it for me to spend this money? Because it costs money to enter competitions and to spend all of this time training. It's fun to compete, but at some point, I'm too competitive to leave without a medal. and so I'm training for this thing that there's no way. Like I just don't I do well, like very well for someone my size, but I can't compete against people who are built better for the sport than I am and who weigh
Yeah.
more than me. And I don't want to eat for sport. Like it's not like I like food and I eat a lot of food, but I don't want to sit there and just like cram food in my face so that I gain some weight. That's not fun for me. So yeah, there's only so far that I personally can take it without being a heavier person. Um and 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 then I kept getting a trigger finger from training for the grip sport, and that was really becoming a problem. I don't want to keep getting cortisone shots on my hands, so I
Wow.
I just
Okay, what grip sports are you speaking of primarily? Which ones?
so arm lifting is I competed in arm lifting at the Arnold several times, and just kind of in other competitions with the I've competed at yeah, it's just a bunch of competitions with that. And I did pretty well with it for my size in particular. I've got little short stumpy fingers. You need really, like, if you're going to be good at this, you need long fingers. um my competitors were all these like long fingered people, and most of them outweighed me by quite a lot. The person who was closest to my weight was also like 5'8" with these very long fingers, and it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
okay,
No, I've competed against guys like that too, wrestling or whatever. It's like they're just okay. They weigh the same, but
yeah,
they stretch out like Mr. Fantastic from the Fantastic Four. What? How do
just
you
built
deal
it.
with that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like just like Spud Webb in basketball, it's like
Right.
you can do it, but you're at a significant disadvantage.
All
Um,
right. Well, you mentioned you like to eat, so we're going to segue right into that. You have written three books.
yes.
One that is Pleasure Not Meeting You, which is really about a vegan diet, vegan lifestyle, and how to maintain it in the world of strength conditioning. Right?
Yes.
When did that come out?
Oh God. 17, I think.
Yeah, been a few years. It was pre-COVID, but it's still
Yeah.
doing well.
That was the
Give me
first
an
book that
idea.
I wrote. And I wrote it, I self-published because I was like, nobody's gonna want this book. But I really want to write this book. That was my thought process. It's like I will
Yeah.
never be able to find a publisher who wants this book. I'm publishing this for me. And if people want it, great. But I just want to get the information out there. That's why I wrote it. Um, there
I
was
did the same thing for Fit to Surf, which was the
yeah,
first strength conditioning book for surfers. I'm like, I
oh,
don't know who's going to buy it, but I want to get it out there, so I
yeah,
self-published too. Good
exactly.
choice.
And sometimes it's just what you do. And for me, it was just like there's no unbiased vegan diet book out there. They're all like trying to get you to be vegan, you know?
Hmm. Do you
And
know how you can tell if somebody's vegan?
because they tell you,
Yes, there you go. Okay, moving on. Boom,
uh,
boom.
I've heard them all, trust me. Uh,
Oh, I bet.
yeah, no, so yeah, like for me it was like I don't need to convince people to be vegan. That's not my goal. But if you want to be vegan, let me help you do it right. That was the whole idea. And so I had people who were decidedly not vegan um check my book out, like Jose Antonio. And oh my God, my brain is just not working right now. I apologize.
Well, what were the big buckets within it? I mean, obviously you've got some you got great reviews, but if let's just say that I am a vegan, what are the things that I really should be focusing on when it comes to, fueling myself for athletic performance?
Well, first and foremost, you have to dial in the protein. you know Most of us need somewhere between 1.2 and 2.4 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, and for vegans you probably need more than that low part, because the proteins that we eat tend not to be as well absorbed. um and so when you're eating meat, you're eating an actual muscle, so
Yes.
you're getting everything you need to make a muscle. When you eat vegan food, you're not necessarily getting it in those quantities. So you need to eat a wide variety of protein sources, and a lot of them. So I always have a plan for protein, in my day. Like I don't track my food because I can't be bothered, but I always have a plan for protein. So it's basically what proteins do I want in my day and how much do I need in order to hit what I want to hit. I always have that in mind. And so I try personally to get at least 120 grams a day. And if I go above that, great. So, and then, I'm a big fiber person. I'm all about fiber. Fiber supports your immune system, your mental health, like all kinds of stuff that people don't realize that it does. It does more than just help you poop. And it also helps prevent obviously certain types of cancer. But fiber foods are some of the most nutritious foods out there, very nutritionally dense foods. So, a lot of my nutrition clients are always like, well, can I just take a fiber supplement? And I'm like, you can, but you're missing out, because fruits, veggies, whole grains, beans, come on, like really, really, really high nutritional density stuff, and you're missing out on all of that.
And so, okay, first, what is the power combination proteins from a vegetable perspective? Like you say, it's really hard to absorb the proteins from a vegan diet. So
You
you
need a
need to.
really wide variety. Like
Oh, it's more variety than it
yeah,
is like, hey,
like
rice and beans kind of thing.
well, rice and beans together does make a complete protein, but you need a lot of it in order to get enough protein in your day. So the big, like, I would say like the highest concentration of protein, probably seitan. And
Hmm.
I make my own. It's very easy to make. It's just like making dough.
How do
Um,
you do it?
yeah, and I usually put bean flour in there because beans and wheat together make a better protein. And that's very, very high concentration protein. I'm also like a big fan of there's a fava bean tofu from, I want to say it's called Blue Mountain Foods or Big Mountain Foods. It's with a B. Uh, anyway, blue or big, my brain not working right now. But they make a fava bean tofu, and the entire block of it is like 200 calories and like 50 grams of protein. And so I would
Wow.
get a whole block of that. I also do like, I like the soy curls, tempeh. I do tofu. I do a lot. I like the faux meat. So a lot of people I don't want to eat processed food. And that's valid, but like, what are we talking about? Because as soon as you take the the fruit off the tree, you have begun processing it. If you chew your food, you're processing your food. If you cook it, if you cut it, if you chop it, you're processing food. So what do we mean when we say processed? So to me, a lot of the faux meats provide protein, provide fiber, provide nutritional value. They fill me up and they do not cause me any kind of medical issues. So to me, it's like, why wouldn't I eat that? It tastes good. It's convenient. I don't have a problem with it. The main issue is they tend to be high in sodium. I'm not sodium sensitive, so that doesn't bother me. But if you have an issue with sodium, don't look, that's probably not going to be the right thing for you. But you have to decide what does it mean for you to avoid a processed food, and why are you avoiding a processed food? Like what specific type of processing are you avoiding? Because it's a big spectrum, you know?
Sure.
So yeah.
Now, we're very fortunate, you and I, to be living on the West Coast, where really incredible clean food source is readily available. We don't have to work that hard in hunting it down. I mean, I can go to a whole bunch of health food stores, which in blocks of here from my facility, compared to say, well, we were in Kansas City in July. What was that like for you?
Easy.
Tell me how. How's it easy?
I have an app called Happy Cow. I can find vegan food anywhere.
Oh. All right. So
Yeah.
that's a really good tool to have.
I was vegan in Mongolia and they pretty much don't eat vegetables there.
So what did you do? I'm really curious because those are the things like for people with food sensitivity, maybe not vegan, but at least they can't have they're gluten intolerant or they've got some other that maybe they're celiac, whatever. They're always always a stress point whenever traveling.
Yeah. Well, for Happy Cow helps, but also like in the cities, it's usually not a problem. Like even Ulaanbaatar had a couple vegan restaurants. That wasn't a problem. It's when I got out into the sticks that it was more of a problem. So, for instance, where we were competing, they did provide us with food. That was great.
Nice.
Because there were 33 different countries represented. There are going to be vegetarians for religious reasons or whatever. There are going to be people who don't eat meat. So they have to provide for that. So they did. It wasn't like
Okay.
what I normally eat. It was like rice. It was mostly like rice. I ate a lot of rice and salad. But I had a bag full of protein bars because I knew this was going to be a problem. I knew I was not going to be getting protein. So I brought enough protein bars that I could get at least like 40 grams of my protein from bars in the day and then try to make up for it elsewhere. There's only so many protein bars you can travel with. So, otherwise I would have brought more, but otherwise, like I wouldn't have room for clothes. So yeah, listen, my protein was low and my nutrition was not ideal while I was there. These are the things that you have to give and take when you travel.
Yeah. And
Um,
then fiber, how did you get your fiber while you were there?
so when I was traveling, I had a guide, and she told the places that we stayed were like it was basically like these little like campsites that had yurts on them. And she basically would tell the people who ran the campsite, she would tell them, hey, listen, she doesn't eat meat or milk. And they would say, what? And what does she eat? But they, they like the first place we stayed, apparently had taken care of people who were vegan before, because they provided some really nice foods for me. They made tofu for me, so I had some protein. They made like really nice vegetables. Like, they had gone to the market and got all the stuff. The second place was the third place we stayed. The third place we stayed, I was only the second person to ever stay on their campsite. It was a brand new campsite. They were just trying it out. And she told them, and they were freaking out. They were like, I don't know what to do. What do you do for someone who doesn't eat milk? Because all they eat is milk and meat. It's a herding lifestyle. That's what they milk everything, and they meatify everything. Like,
Even cats.
yes,
That's right.
anything that they have, like, they milk horses, they milk yaks, they milk, like, everything is milked, and they eat all of the animals, and like that is what they eat. So there are some root vegetables that happen, but it's like, so my guide went to the market and brought a bunch of vegetables in, and the woman who ran the place was like, what is this? I don't know what this is. I don't know what to do with it. So I did a lot of the cooking. Like, I went,
Okay.
I made dumplings. Like, they were making dumplings, so I made dumplings. They were making like soup. My guide actually likes vegetables, so she knew how to make stuff. So she made some soup. Like, so we both would go in and cook. So that worked out.
Wow. Very cool.
And
You
then the
see,
people who own
you
the place
just,
actually tried vegetables, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, this is edible."
oh my gosh, it's great to have such cultural experiences. Now,
Mm,
okay, so pleasure not meeting you was your first, and
yes.
then we have diet lies and weight loss truths. That came out right in the midst. I think we're like your sister from another mister or something like that, because we've got the same path. Hey, we're
Yeah.
gonna self-publish a book because we don't know if anybody else is interested. So that's good. But now we're gonna come up with a second book, or just a book in general, and we're gonna release it during a global pandemic. I think what better time than the year of COVID to try
Right.
and get your book sold. So anyway, that was published in December of 2020. Diet Lies
Yeah.
and Weight Loss Truths, a
Yeah.
scientific guide to make sense out of dieting and exercise.
Yeah.
Well, finally, there's a book about that. You and
Mhm.
Susan Kleiner.
Yeah, Susan wrote some of the meal plans in there and stuff. Hmm.
Give us a little synopsis about Diet Lies.
So that book was funny because I was gonna just keep doing the self-pub. I was like, well, I want to write this one too, so I'm just gonna. And it had originally been it had a totally different name, and it was also gonna be about like how musicians on the road stay healthy. So I had a whole, like, I had gone out and interviewed like 20 different, like, well-known musicians, and who like take care of themselves and are really healthy, but are touring all the time. So I
We
had
should pause right here and let the listening audience know that Melody is also a head-banging lead vocalist at some serious rock bands in Southern California. So now I understand the segue into it. All right, so
yeah.
continue, please.
So that was that I had a whole section of these interviews, and I had spent like 6 months interviewing people, and I had this book ready to go. And I went to a conference, and then a representative from my publisher from Human Kinetics approached me and was like, "Hey, I saw your book um about veganism. What else you got?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I literally just finished writing this book." And I told him what it was, and he was like, "Well, can I see it?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I sent it his way, and they were like, "Yeah, we want this book, but we don't want the interviews. And then
Uh-huh.
you need to have a dietitian involved, because technically you're not a dietitian, and we need to have like more credibility." So I was like, "Okay." So we ditched the interviews, which is a bummer, because I really liked those. It was fun doing those interviews. um but that is not what they wanted. And then we changed the name, which was, I liked the name, but all right, that's
What was your name? What was the working title?
oh god. um what was it? I have to look it up now. I forget now, because my brain, my brain, it does not work so good.
Well, yeah, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
So you got Human Kinetics to sign you up, and you came out with Diet Lies and Weight Loss Truths.
Yes. Oh, it was called Diets, Lies, and Rock and Roll. That's what I called it originally.
Nice.
Yeah.
And okay, some of the top lies out there, diet lies.
So, like I went over like 12 of the most common diets that people tend to go on. And I talked about, like, why they work and issues you might have doing them. And then like the propaganda they try to sell you on to get you to buy into their dogma. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, with veganism, I'm gonna tattle out my own people, man. Because I'll tell you what, when I first went vegan, it wasn't because of them and not for their lack of trying. They actually extended the time that I was not vegan because they turned me off to it because they were so like dogmatic and like calling me a murderer because I wasn't vegan and all this stuff. And that's a turnoff, man. Or trying to show me these graphic, violent videos. I'm like, dude, I don't need to see that. Like, you're not helping me here. Like, trust me, I'm the person who's saving bugs out of water fountains. I'm not the person you need to show these videos to. So the reason I went vegan was because I met some people and I was already kind of going towards vegetarianism. I had quit most things except for fish. And then I was like, well, I don't really understand the whole milk and eggs thing because like, you don't have to kill an animal to get those. And what they said to me, which was the best thing anybody's ever said to me about something, was, well, why don't you do some research and tell us what you find out?
Hey, there you go.
Well, I can research some shit. Right. So I went and I did my research and I was like, oh, that does not fit with my morality. And I went vegan.
Right on.
So a lot of the stuff that they try to sell you on with veganism is they try to tell you that everything that's not vegan causes cancer. If you've ever watched the documentaries.
Yeah, I've seen Book of Mormon too, so I think that's along the same lines.
Yes, exactly. So listen, they're always trying to sell you on something, whether it is a product or an idea. They want you to do what either something that's trying to make them money or something that's going to get you to believe what they believe. One of those things. It's like a religion in a lot of ways. So, so that's one thing,
And then what about weight loss truths? What were the truths you found?
I talked about all kinds of stuff regarding weight loss. Obviously, caloric deficit is the main thing. But then I also talked about something. So my master's degree is in health psychology, talked about a lot of things about food psychology. I talked about a lot of, so one thing that I did was I had gone on my social media and I had said, hey, tell me like your biggest struggles with weight loss and questions that you have. And I will address them in my book. So I got a bunch of people who responded. So I just started answering questions. So I have a whole section where I did that. And then I had, I haven't looked at my book in a while, so I'm trying to remember what else I had in there. But yeah, that's basically what I did was I tried to take everything that I have done as a coach, questions my clients have come up with, things that pop up a lot with people who I work with, and then things that I hear just amongst, my friends and colleagues. And I tried to provide insight into all of that in the other half of the book.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now you're not quite settled. We still have one more book to talk about.
Yes.
And still with human kinetics, they signed you up with Lee Boyce and you came out with strength training for all body types. So a whole bunch. Okay, I'm just going to list the body types. So there's 13 in the book. There's tall, my favorite, short, big all over, short arms and long legs, short legs and long arms. That's the ape index that I'm quite pronounced in. Long torso, short legs and long arms. A long torso with long legs and short arms. And then you've got the short torso, short legs and long arms. And there's a short torso, long legs, short arms. I think my longest standing client falls under that category. Quite a unique body type. Long femurs. I was about to say lemurs, but that's a different category entirely. But long femurs and short shins. Long lemurs, but they're really not that fast. Long femurs and short shins, and then you've got long shins and short femurs. And then lastly, small hands. We won't talk politics right now, but I probably know somebody there too. Hey, so in my mind, I'm thinking, wow, I don't think anybody's broken the body types down like this. And rather, because we usually think of like positional programs for football or potentially baseball or other sports, cricket, where there's specificity to training and these positions, you're going to find certain body types for that. But this is completely different. How did this come about with you and Lee?
So Lee, I met at a conference like years ago, and we just hit it off like straight away. First of all, because we look like twins. I mean, like you look at us, you can't.
Yeah, he's got a little bit darker skin, like
Eh,
tan, and he's
barely,
about 6 foot
barely.
five. Yeah, and almost the same hair. Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
how people could
you
think
just can't. You can't tell.
fraternal twins.
I can't
No.
tell you how many times I've been walking down the street and they've been like, "Are you Lee Boyce?" And I'm like, "Nope, nope, different guy." But yeah, no, but we became really, really good friends, and we're always like bouncing thoughts off each other and sending each other dumb memes online. um, but I kept saying we need to do something. Like we need to do something. Like we have good like energy. We need to do something with this energy. And he was like, "Yeah, we do." And then he was like, "Well, why don't we do like a video?" And I was like, "Okay, let's do a video." So we did this video where we showed the like three major lifts, like deadlift, a squat, and a bench press. And then we showed him doing it and me doing it in real time and how different it looked and the time it took for us to complete the lift and all of that stuff. And that post went viral, and it was a very cool post. And I was like, "We should write a book." And he was like, "That's really funny that you said that, because I just got asked to write a book by Human Kinetics and I turned it down because it didn't really resonate with me what they wanted me to write about." He's like, "But I would write about this." And I was like, "Well, let me pitch it and see what they say." So I ran it by a Human Kinetics and they were like, "Yeah, it's a good idea, but what can you really say about it? Like, there's not going to be enough material on this." And I was like,
Mm.
"Want to bet?" I was like, "Let me send you a table of contents and you tell me." And they were like, "Nah, all right." So we threw together a table of contents with what we wanted to write about. And they were like, "All right, let's run with it. Let's see what happens." So it went from there.
Okay, so I'm long arms, short legs, short torso. Like you can barely get your index finger between my lower rib cage and my pelvic crest.
Wow.
Like there's no space there. I
Yeah.
was dropped on my head numerous times, I'm sure of it, or I just landed out of the crib the wrong
That
way.
would
But
explain a lot.
I'm a damn good paddler, exactly, right? But gymnast, wrestler, anything that involves primate kind of orangutan kind of activities, I excel. But
Yeah.
what does that mean when it comes to the gym? Like compared to somebody with a long torso, what's the major
Well,
differences?
I think first and foremost, what we have to realize is it doesn't necessarily mean anything, because everybody's body is different. But there are things that it likely, like there are characteristics that likely comes with. We can't take anything with the human body with like as law, because bodies just behave differently. They just do.
Sure.
But you are
But there's
generally,
trends. There's
yes, the
trends.
trends. Exactly. So that's really what we're looking at. We're looking at like things that tend to be commonalities with the majority of people who we see who present like this. For people with short torsos, guess what? You're going to be a lot more stable in your core than somebody with a lot of space there.
Oh, good insight. I like that.
You're
Okay.
going to be a lot harder to push over.
Yeah.
Yep.
I missed my calling in Moss wrestling, obviously, but that's okay.
Well,
All right.
actually, people with really long limbs, especially long legs, do well in moss wrestling, because they can,
Damn it.
if they're against somebody who has a shorter leg, they can pull them over the bar a lot easier.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I
scratch
have
that one.
no any sport that I've ever tried, I have never been built for, ever.
Ah, what is the sport you're built for?
I guess lifting stuff off the ground is that's something I'm good at. Yeah.
And
I'm
so
not even
when it
really good at
comes,
that anymore. My deadlift sucks right now.
uh-oh. All right. Well, when it comes to these different body types, did you design programs based on the 13 types that you put in the book? Or did you say, hey, you might want to gravitate toward these, you might want to explore these movements if you're in this body type?
We talked about the different ways that you might approach them. So the basic premise here is that when you become a personal trainer, or when you are a weekend warrior, whatever, and you get yourself a textbook or a regular book that tells you how to do things correctly, there's one way to do it.
Yes.
It doesn't take into account that some people can't do it that way. So we did, and we talked about, okay, well, this is how your body might present for this lift. And these are some weaknesses you might see there. And so this is how we would address that. And here are some, we did put together some plans, some sample plans for people, like, okay, if you have this body type, here's maybe a plan that might work for you for the weaknesses that will likely present for you. So we did that. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Yeah, it's really an easier, I won't say mindless. You don't have to think as much if you have the one shape fits all kind of approach.
Correct.
Compared to this, now you've actually got to slow down and consider, what is it I'm seeing?
Yeah.
What are the trends, or what exercises should I explore with these people to give them the biggest bang for their buck, so to speak?
Correct.
Were there any kind of things that made you go, "Oh, what the heck? I had no idea about this." Any moments of enlightenment when you and Lee were writing this book made you go, "Oh my gosh, check this out. I can't
I
believe
mean,
we didn't think of this yet."
not really, because the two of us have been working with so many body types for so long. Like I've been a trainer for almost 30 years. Like we did a lot of this based on like, here are our experiences. Let me see if the science backs it up.
Yeah.
So it was really working backwards from the experience. So it wasn't like we were shocked by anything. But the fact of the matter is there's not that much research about this stuff. There's some, but there's not a ton.
No, I imagine, because really we're very exercise centric rather
Yeah.
than body type centric.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Within the, well, 30 years, I put you into 4 decades and into the last century, being a trainer in the last century and so on. Out of all those years, Melody, um, without naming names, some of the most unique clients you've had to train, whether it's the sport that they were training for, or just the situation they were in.
Oh boy, so many. Like I've trained so many cool people. I trained a Hall of Fame jockey. That was a lot of fun.
Was he taller than us, or was he shorter than
He
us?
was my size, and it was
So
like
our size, yeah.
he was such a nice guy too, and like um a lot of stability work with him. I've trained a few celebrities, and I'm really lucky because the celebrities that I've worked with have all been like really nice people. I've heard some horror
Mm.
stories. But I've trained a few celebrities, one of whom was deaf. And so working with her, um, we
Did she happen to be in a Children of the Lesser God?
perhaps
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, we won't
perhaps
name names.
I think that
All right.
I think the list
I had
is
a
short.
crush on her.
The list is short. She's pretty great.
Yeah.
She lived very close to me. And so one of my neighbors recommended me to her, and she was great. I haven't seen her in a while. But yeah, I think I've worked with a lot of musicians. I've worked with I work with a guy who writes documentaries, and he's like traveling constantly, so not so consistent. So we're having to work with consistency. I think some of my favorite people to work with are people who are on the spectrum. People who have ADHD and autism, because there are certain, especially when they're working on their habits around food, because there are certain things that, like the hyper focus, they will forget to eat, and then all of a sudden they'll eat everything. Like they go from like, I'm not hungry, I don't want to eat, to like, I'm starving and I need to eat everything. um and there's just like, there's a lot. And then like I want to do all the exercise all at once. And now I'm just going to lay in bed for 5 days. Like this is like a lot of extremes. So trying to help people find balance when their tendency is just like, it's really on or it's really off. And yeah, so like it's always fun. Like it's interesting. People are fun, man. I like.
That's great.
Mm.
And then, okay, so your career path, it's been shining, and I know you went through, boy, the fires in Southern California have really tossed everyone's lives upside down. You land on your feet, so it just shows the type of community that you surround yourself with and the type of person you are. But going through that, coming out on the other side, where's your career path now? Where is it being pointed to? Is it the same, or are you looking on different directions?
It's funny because I never really have a plan. Everybody has that like 10-year plan. I never had that. I was just kind of like, I think I'm going to do this now. And then I just make it work. um, Things are strange here because of the fires. So the fires, the E10 fire, I'm 2 blocks from burnt structures.
Yeah.
And I was out of my house for 2 months because of smoke damage. I had to throw away like pretty much everything. Like anything that had any kind of like soft structure to it, I had to throw away. So, it's been an interesting process because a lot of my clients lost everything. And some of my clients were the only house left on the block. And I had a few clients who had to move away because they had no place to go anymore. Some people's landlords refused to do any kind of remediation, which is not legal, but they chose to like sell the place rather than remediate. So then they're left without a place to live. What are they going to do? So I lost a lot of clients. And also just like I work with people who have jobs that are based on grants, jobs that are based in the sciences. They work for JPL and NASA. They work for universities. They work for federal agencies. Their jobs are either gone or threatened. So it's hard right now for everybody, not just me, but obviously all of that affects me as well.
Certainly.
So it's been a challenge. I work at my gym. I also work with online clients, and I write articles when I can, and I intend to keep doing it until it's not feasible anymore. Living in LA and having 2 rents to pay, it ain't
Yeah.
cheap. So
No.
I just have to keep doing my best. I never went into this to be rich, but I would like to not, be in debt. So I'm doing my best to stay as salient as I can while I'm able to support my clients as well. So I will do this until I can't.
And at the same time, you travel and you give lectures and workshops and presentations.
Yeah.
Do you have any coming up before the end of the year? Because we're kind of near the end of it. You do?
I'm speaking in New Zealand.
What?
In
Do you
November.
need a Sherpa? They're not very
I
common.
do need a
But,
Sherpa. I need someone who knows how to drive on the left side of the road because I don't.
oh, I just do that out of habit. I get in trouble, but that's fine. What's going on in New Zealand? What's the conference?
It's the uh Exercise New Zealand. It's their big conference out there. I've spoken for them before virtually, and they wanted me to speak in person this year. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Like they were like, we don't really have a lot of budget for you to come down here, but we could do virtual again. And I said, actually, you know what? I would like to see New Zealand. So I'll just come down and
Right on.
my dime. But you only live once, and I would really
Yeah.
like New Zealand.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, the hobbits are going home. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I
I
might
want to
not
go to
come back.
hobbits.
I might
Yeah.
not come back. I mean, any place that has more sheep than people, might,
They milk those things. You got to be careful about that.
that's in
All
Mongolia.
right. So, okay, if people want, well, I'll put the links to your books in the description of the podcast below. But how do people follow you, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, or otherwise?
I have a LinkedIn. I don't really use it. I am on Instagram if you like pictures of animals and random other things, then you will love my Instagram.
Rock concerts. What's the band that you play with?
I'm with a few. I do an Iron Maiden tribute, and then I am with a couple of original projects, and I also release music online as well, through with other people and by myself. And so
Can I do a search on Spotify and get you?
You could. You wouldn't
All
see
right.
everything then because not everything's under my name, but there's a few things under my name. Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
What other names would we find you under?
Well, my main band is called SD17, but they started out as a recording project over the pandemic, and they had just they would just hire singers. So their singers were all in Europe and didn't want to get visa to play with them live. So then they needed someone who did, and so they brought me on. So I'm only in 2 or 3 of the songs that are online right now, the most recent ones, and then we're putting out another one soon. And yeah. And then
It's no wonder you don't sleep. There's no time for that.
And then there's also
Damn.
another band called Three Ring. It's not my project, but it's my friend Adam's project, and he has me do duets with him sometimes. And one of the songs that we did was called Can Anybody Hear Me? And that one hit like over 600,000 on YouTube, just on YouTube. So that one did really well. And
Right on.
a few more coming out soon too.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's exciting. All right. I'm going to have to check that out. We'll put it in the description too. Melody, this has been great. I can't thank you.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, girl, this is autumn. Honestly, it was great seeing you at the conference and then setting this up. I've been waiting for this, and
I
I'm
have
just
this
stoked that you keep on
scratch
going.
on my chin, and it's very distracting. Like I keep looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, I have this.
Oh, I thought that was the most attractive birthmark I'd ever seen. I have no idea. Well, fortunately, most people listen. They don't actually watch. But for those watching, now you know.
I apologize for the scratch on my chin.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been nice to have you. I can't speak English. It's been nice to be here.
And just like that, another episode comes to an end. I want to thank Melody for coming on. And man, she is a fountain of knowledge. I love soaking it up when I'm with her. Be sure to check out my website, rockysnyder.com. You can register for the workshop that's happening at the Perform Better Training Institute at the end of September, or go to performbetter.com and register that way. Recalibrating movement from the ground up. You'll get CEUs, whether it's the NSCA, NASM, maybe even APTA. I don't know. You're going to have to ask my helper there. But it sounds like we've got plenty of credit for anyone that comes. So I'd love to have you there. There's a few spots left. Again, Recalibrating Movement from the Ground Up, Perform Better Functional Training Institute in West Warwick, Rhode Island, September 27th. We'll see you there.